Ever wondered how Amish furniture workshops fulfill over 100 custom orders monthly without missing deadlines despite having no computers or project management software? Modern businesses blame supply chains for delays, yet these manual workshops deliver precisely on schedule. The difference isn't technology, it's systematic operations preventing delays before they occur. Order recording system. The foundation of delay-free fulfillment begins at order intake when customer specifications are captured in handwritten order books with detail and clarity that prevents the misunderstandings causing most project delays. Each new order receives a sequential number written at the top of a dedicated page in a large bound ledger. The craftsman records every specification the customer provides: dimensions, wood type, finish preference, hardware selection, delivery location, and requested completion date. This isn't cursory note-taking, but comprehensive documentation where ambiguous requests are clarified immediately through questions, ensuring mutual understanding. The physical order book stays open on the workshop desk, where it's constantly visible and accessible without logging into systems or searching files. When questions arise during production, the craftsman simply opens the book to the numbered order and reads the original specifications, rather than relying on memory or searching through digital records that might be buried in email threads or scattered across multiple platforms. Carbon paper creates duplicate copies. One stays in the book for permanent reference, the other goes to the workshop floor attached to the order's materials, ensuring specifications stay physically present throughout production where they're needed most. This tangible documentation system eliminates the information gaps that create delays when workers cannot find specifications or when digital files are inaccessible. Material pre-ordering. Material shortages destroy production schedules more reliably than any other single factor, but Amish workshops eliminate this delay source through advanced purchasing and inventory management that ensures materials are ready before orders arrive rather than scrambling to source them after commitments are made. Workshop owners maintain standing relationships with lumber suppliers, receiving regular deliveries of commonly used wood species: oak, cherry, maple, walnut purchased in bulk quantities that provide months of supply. This advanced purchasing leverages volume discounts while ensuring material availability regardless of market fluctuations or supply disruptions. Purchased lumber doesn't go directly into production. It's stored in workshop buildings where it acclimates to local humidity for months or years, reaching equilibrium moisture content that prevents warping or cracking in finished furniture. This seasoning process happens continuously, with new lumber added to storage as older stock moves into production, creating a constant pipeline of ready material. Hardware components, hinges, drawer slides, table hardware, finishing supplies are similarly stocked in advance based on typical order patterns. When an order arrives requiring specific hardware, components are already in inventory rather than requiring special orders with shipping delays. The storage systems keeping this inventory organized use simple but effective methods: lumber stacked by species and thickness, hardware sorted in labeled bins, finishing supplies arranged by type. Everything has a designated location where it can be found immediately without searching. Production scheduling. Visual scheduling using a large wall calendar provides the production planning that keeps all active orders progressing toward completion without conflicts, overbooking, or forgotten deadlines that plague businesses relying on digital calendars that hide information behind screens. The calendar displays an entire month at a glance, with each order represented by a colored bar spanning from start date to promised delivery. The visual format immediately reveals capacity, how many orders are in production simultaneously, when delivery dates cluster requiring particular attention, and where gaps exist, allowing new order acceptance. Color coding distinguishes order types or customers at a glance. Red might indicate rush orders requiring priority attention. Blue represents standard timeline orders. Green shows orders for repeat customers with established relationships. This visual differentiation prevents orders from blending together into an undifferentiated mass, where priorities become confused. Critical to this system is the buffer time built into every estimate. When a customer requests delivery in 4 weeks, the workshop commits to 5 or 6 weeks, building in margin for inevitable complications, material defects requiring substitution, tool breakdowns, or complexity discovered during production. This conservative scheduling means on-time delivery is actually early by the internal schedule, creating satisfaction rather than relief. The calendar also prevents overcommitting capacity. When the visual display shows production fully booked, no new orders are accepted for those periods regardless of customer pleading. This discipline protects the schedule and reputation better to refuse an order than accept it and deliver late. Sequential ordering prevents resource conflicts where multiple orders need the same tools or workspace simultaneously. Single project focus. While modern productivity culture celebrates multitasking and parallel project management, Amish workshops operate on opposite principles, working one order to complete or near complete before starting the next, eliminating the task switching that research shows reduces productivity despite creating feelings of busy effectiveness. This single project focus manifests physically in workshop organization. When a dining table is in production, the workshop configures around that project table saw set to required angles, router equipped with appropriate bits, assembly space cleared for the table's footprint. All tools stay configured for this specific project throughout its production cycle, rather than being constantly adjusted for different projects. The craftsman works on table components, continuously cutting all legs, then all aprons, then all top pieces, batching similar operations that share tool setups rather than jumping between different operations for different projects. This batching dramatically improves efficiency since setup time is invested once rather than repeatedly. Mental focus benefits equally. The craftsman holds the complete project in mind, how components fit together, what remaining work needs completion, where potential problems might emerge. This sustained attention catches problems early and enables creative problem solving as the project develops, unlike the fragmented attention of multitasking, where the craftsman must mentally reload project context every time attention shifts. Quality improves under single project focus because errors are caught immediately while context is fresh rather than discovered later when the craftsman has moved to other work and must spend time refamiliarizing with the X% project to understand and fix problems. The psychological benefit of completing projects before starting new ones cannot be understated. Each completion provides satisfaction and visible progress, rather than the chronic incompletion feeling that accompanies working on dozens of projects simultaneously with none reaching finished state. Morning planning ritual. Before tools turn on or work begins, Amish craftsmen invest 15 minutes each morning in planning that prevents the reactive chaos, midday disruptions, and forgotten tasks that create delays in workshops operating without this disciplined preparation. The morning planning session starts with schedule review, checking the wall calendar, identifying which orders need attention today based on their delivery deadlines and current progress. The craftsman determines priorities, typically focusing on orders closest to delivery dates, while ensuring longer-term orders progress steadily rather than being neglected until they become urgent. Material and tool preparation happens mentally during planning before physical work begins. The craftsman identifies what lumber needs, moving from storage to workshop, what tools require setup for the day's operations, and what supplies need replenishment from inventory. This advanced identification prevents the stop and start pattern, where work halts multiple times, while the craftsman retrieves forgotten items or realizes tools need adjustment. Potential problems are anticipated and addressed before they occur. If today's work requires a particular router bit that might be dull, the craftsman sharpens it during morning preparation, rather than discovering the problem mid-project when stopping for sharpening creates momentum loss. If material quality seems questionable, inspection happens before cutting rather than after wasting time on defective wood. For workshops with multiple workers, morning planning includes task assignment and coordination: who works on which aspects of which orders, who needs which tools and workspace, and how to avoid conflicts where people need the same resources simultaneously. This coordination prevents the inefficient standing around waiting that occurs when multiple workers converge on bottleneck resources without planning. The discipline of starting with clarity rather than urgency transforms daily work from reactive scrambling into controlled execution, where each hour produces expected progress rather than fighting fires and recovering from mistakes. Continuous workflow. Modern workplaces fragment attention through constant interruptions, phones ringing, emails arriving, texts chiming, colleagues dropping by, creating the illusion of productivity while destroying the deep focus that quality work requires. Amish workshops eliminate these interruptions through strict boundaries, protecting concentrated work time. No phones ring in the workshop. The community phone sits in a small shed, 100 plus feet from the building, physically impossible to hear from inside the workshop, where cutting, sanding, and assembly create background noise. Customers who call leave messages that are checked twice daily at scheduled times, never interrupting work in progress. This batched communication proves more efficient than constant interruption. The craftsman handles all messages during dedicated communication windows, rather than losing focus repeatedly throughout the day. Visitors face restrictions. A small sign or understood custom indicates that workshop hours are for work, not socializing. Friends and neighbors know to visit during lunch break or after work hours unless bringing genuinely urgent information. This boundary doesn't seem rude within Amish culture. It's respected as necessary for meeting commitments and maintaining quality. The work hours themselves follow rigid structure. Start at 7 a.m., lunch from 12 to 12:30, afternoon break at 3, stop at 5:30 p.m. These boundaries aren't flexible based on feelings or project urgency. They're maintained consistently, creating sustainable pace rather than the burnout that comes from irregular hours and constantly pushing limits. Breaks are scheduled, not random. The craftsman doesn't wander away from work whenever feeling tired or bored. Breaks happen at designated times, providing predictable rest while preventing the procrastination disguised as break-taking that extends projects beyond necessary timeframes. This continuous, focused workflow compounds over weeks into dramatic productivity advantages over environments where attention fractures constantly, despite workers feeling busy and responsive. Quality checkpoints. Delays often result not from slow initial work, but from discovering major problems late in production, requiring extensive rework, a scenario Amish workshops prevent through quality checkpoints at each production stage. Catching problems immediately when fixing them is quick, rather than after they've cascaded into major issues. After cutting all components for a piece of furniture, the craftsman pauses before proceeding to verify that dimensions match specifications exactly. Taking 5 minutes to measure and check at this stage prevents discovering later that table legs are cut wrong and must be redone, the difference between 5 minutes of checking and several hours of wasted work and material. Before assembly, a dry fit, putting components together temporarily without glue, reveals fit problems when they're still easy to correct. A joint that's too tight can be adjusted with minutes of chisel work during dry fit versus hours of disassembly and correction if discovered after gluing. The investment of 20 minutes in careful dry fitting prevents day-long delays from assembly problems. Finish application happens in stages with inspection between coats. The craftsman examines the first coat carefully, identifying areas where finish pooled incorrectly or where wood absorbed unevenly, requiring additional preparation. Catching these issues after first coat allows correction before subsequent coats compound problems into finish failure, requiring complete stripping and restart. Customer approval happens at critical decision points: wood selection for visible grain matching, finish color confirmation on sample pieces, hardware selection verification. These checkpoints prevent the devastating delay of completing furniture only to discover it doesn't match customer expectations. Realistic time estimates. Optimistic time estimates create more delays than any technical failure. Promising delivery in 3 weeks for work requiring 5 weeks inevitably disappoints customers and damages reputation, regardless of craftsmanship quality. Amish workshops avoid this trap through conservative estimating based on actual past performance rather than ideal scenarios. When quoting delivery timeframes, craftsmen reference their order books showing how long similar projects actually took. A dining table with complex joinery might take 40 hours of work, not the 30 hours it seems like it should take when envisioning the process abstractly. The order history provides reality check against optimistic internal estimates. Buffer time gets built into every quote. If actual work time is 4 weeks, the quoted delivery is 5